In this very rare home video, we see a very different side of Benjamin Siegel.
It shouldn't be that big a surprise that Bugsy Siegel had a home life, and that the man his family knew was not the same man that his business friends and enemies knew.
A family man splashing in the pool with his kids while entertaining friends and family. Friends who happen to be world famous. Friends like Cary Grant.
They dropped in. I really have no clue why Cary Grant was there. I mean, I walked into, I guess you'd call it a family room now, and he called us in, and there he was. He did have a lot of friends from show business, and, you know, they'd be at the house all the time or at the dinner party. We just sort of took it naturally. We never had dinner with it when they had those big parties or anything. We weren't invited, so to speak, but we did see them when they came in, and it was fun.
With his movie star looks, Siegel fit right in with the crowd.
Well, he was very physically good looking. He had the most gorgeous blue eyes.
Do you have his eyes?
Yeah.
Something else she would have, a starlet godmother.
How did Jean Harlow become your godmother?
Well, she was friends of my father's and mother's, and she used to come to the house, and she had no kids, and she took a liking to me, and she became my godmother.
In 1941, the country was reeling from World War II, and Benjamin Siegel, at 35, was too old to get drafted and wasn't looking to enlist. He was looking for his next big moneymaker. He found it in Las Vegas, where gambling and prostitution were legal. He invested in the El Cortez, and at 9 years old, Millicent would get her very first taste of Las Vegas.
We came out here to sort of look the place over, and it was really fun. My sister and my mother and my father and myself, we spent 3-4 weeks here while he was getting accustomed to the place and looking around. And we just stayed in the pool, went horseback riding, and of course we weren't allowed in the casino. So we stood there and peered in.
For Millicent, the trip out west was just a perk of her father's work, whatever that was.
I didn't know all about Murder Incorporated or any of those things. No clue whatsoever. I mean, when we went to school and they asked what your father did, retired. Retired from what? Because that was one thing when you go to school, they ask you questions. So, and then when the hotel was, and he was out here, then I could say in the hotel business. But we knew nothing, and there were lots of people that we knew that were supposed to be part and parcel of that whole thing, but I knew them only in a different way than what's been pictured. And I can't comment on it because I don't know.
She did know that her dad was doting.
He spent time with me at the stables, and I was doing the horse show circuit here, and when he was in town, he was always there. We'd go out to dinner. He had a terrible temper. If he got mad, you could hear him, God knows where. But basically, he was very soft-spoken. I know we could talk to him if we had a problem. We'd go to him a little faster than we'd go to my mother, and he was just very loving. And, very proud of my riding and all the ribbons and things that I won, and very supportive.
Those moments were fleeting, as Siegel split his time between the family home in California and his interests in Vegas, but the distance would soon grow even more.
When I graduated grade school, my parents decided to separate, so we moved back to New York, and I was like 14 then, so I would be coming back and forth in the summer. When we moved back to New York, I was kind of rebellious, and I felt that, we were uprooted from a home, in a state that we grew up in, so to speak, and New York was nothing that I liked. And I would wear blue jeans and big sloppy sweaters and all that kind of stuff, and I started to smoke in the street. The schools were, we went to private schools, and they had no facilities for food, so when you're in high school you were allowed to go out to eat. I never came back. My sister was 2.5 years younger than me, and she begged not to go to the same school as me. So my mother just got fed up with me and complained to my father, and he wrote a letter.
Dear Esther, I've taken a little time to think over your letter before answering you. Esther, I well realize the problems you have with the girls, and you know that I always have, and I always will do all that I can to help you with them. Our love for them and our responsibility to them is something we will always share.